For the past couple years, we've gone through a unique period where there's been many people said we are living in the times of the great resignation, where people are quitting their jobs, not working, or retiring early. And I think if you can retire early, or if you are financially stable and you're living healthy and you don't need to work, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you are short on money, if you allow idle time to be destructive and you turn to substance abuse or unhealthy relationships because you got too much time on your hands, I think it's a great time to get back in the workforce. Not because I care about what someone does individually, but I know that the biggest challenge in getting back in the workforce is justifying why you have not been in the workforce. From my experience in life, once you leave the workforce and you're out for a period of 1 year or more, when it shows on your resume that you have a gap, it's very hard to get back in because people look at it as you've been irresponsible, off the radar, and you're too much of a risk to hire because you don't look reliable. But in today's time where there's just not enough people to fill certain jobs, it's a great time where you're not going to be questioned as much, at least by that many companies, that where's this gap? And so I think that relieves some of the mental pressure that people feel to get back into something. It's like riding a bike. It's like not dating for a while. It's like not driving for a while. When you don't do something for a while, even though you kind of think you can do it, you lose a little confidence and you lose your flow. Life is a rhythm. So the message tonight is not to make anyone do anything they don't want to do. Again, if you're living a happy life and you're financially secure, do whatever you want. But if idle time is getting in your way and you're leaning towards substance abuse, reckless behavior, oversleeping, depression, and you are not financially good, then I think it only makes sense for you to better your life to get back in the workforce. But those are my thoughts on the times we're in. It's a great time to get back in the workforce if you are a certain segment of the population, if you want to. Let's go to live chat. What's up? Return to heaven. Great to see you. In orbit. Great to see you. Andre. Hey, from Orlando. You made it down to Florida. I heard you're back traveling. I read your comment. I'm on that hot tube. Yeah. Look, we're in the middle of January, so it's been in the 70s in South Florida. Not too hot. When it gets to the mid-January through mid-March, 70s. Sometimes you get to the 80s. And for me, once I'm in the 70-degree Fahrenheit weather, I'm not fully submersing in the ocean. I need it in the 80s, but still by the beach, still enjoying myself. Have a great time on your vacation. Ryan, what's up? Good day to you, Sam. Same to you. God bless. Same to you. I thank you. Emoji meme. Hey, everyone. Good to see everyone on the live chat. Hope you had a good day, whatever you do, whether you work or you don't work. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. I know Emoji meme has had her own business. Remember, having your own business, I've had three, but I also always kept a main job. Why? Because they're risky and there's not stable income. Some days, some months you may make a lot, and some months you may make none. And I always felt too much at risk. And I wanted to kind of, at least in the beginning of my career, build up a foundation, build up some retirement, build up some Social Security credits. So that's just me personally. Again, I'm not one of these people hollering at other people. I'm on my business today. This happened to me a couple times and it really hurt me. Uh, I was I was in a corner of the park, okay, feeding the squirrels, and some nasty woman. A guy came up to me last time, almost like 8 months ago. Some woman comes up to me. I'm minding my business. I'm not by anyone else. And she goes, "Are you feeding the squirrels?" I go, "What?" So first I look at her because her tone and everything gets me upset. And what I've learned as I've matured in life, and I've seen this in the workforce too, is Sam, just say very little to nothing because I could really hurt my life by engaging in conflict. And many people have left the workforce because of that. I remember one time I was at a job and there was like this contentious conversation. And I just ended it and walked away, not because I wanted to cause problem, but I wanted to end the problem. You at a certain point when you're dealing with a certain person and when they're in a certain mind state, there is nothing that you're going to say that's going to serve a purpose to help you or help them. When someone's in a certain mindset, you just got to eat it. Like I just ate it. Because I said to myself, I calculated all this real quick. I said to myself, here's a deranged woman, basically. And I understand she doesn't like people feeding the squirrels, even though it looks like she got an inheritance. It looked like she hasn't worked in a long time. But I don't care. But I said to myself, I'm not even mad at that, but I'm kind of minding my business. But I just look at her and I smiled. I said, yeah, I fed the squirrel thing. And she goes, what? You know, she said a couple nasty things like, and I just looked at her. I ate it and I'm thinking, Sam, there's people like this in the world, man. I can't understand it, man. I mean, so many wrong things in the world. And this is what people like want to make an issue with. And again, I'm in my own part of the park here. But I remind myself, Sam, what positive can come out of arguing with a woman, adult woman, very old woman, looks ugly, but she had a lot of makeup on, thought she looked good. I said, what's going to come of it? Even if you say some hurtful things back, which I could have said a lot. And even if, I mean, what am I going to, what do I gain, one, arguing with a woman? I mean, that's like, and then two is, even if it was a man or whatever, what do I gain fighting over feeding the squirrels? Now, this is I'm a mature middle-aged person, but I felt so much anger in me that I could see how people lose their cool and ruin their life for reckless shit. Oh, $5 super chat, Peanut Better. I like the tag name. Thank you, Peanut Better. Hey, Sam, I've been watching your channel on and off. Thank you. I hope that you get by in these hard times. Times have been great. For me, the hardest thing now is buying a home base in low inventory, high inflation. But I'm doing well. Society's doing well. I lived through a couple recessions. And I've never seen society where there's an abundance of opportunity, even to work remotely, even to work as an independent contractor, DoorDash, Uber, Instacart, your own job. I've never seen times in my 41 years as good as they are. You say, what about the pandemic? Yeah, again, I go back to percentage-wise in the population, everyone's going to get it. And certainly there's been a percentage that have died, still less than 1% of society that have died. So psychologically, it's been hard times because psychologically there's been 2 years of dramatic change and people struggle to deal with change. So that I empathize with. And there's been a lot of contention because to the internet, as good as it is, the bad part is everyone's communicating at one time and it's very hard to digest all this mentally. It's like arguing in the park with 1 million people at once. So I always try to put that in perspective. But I thank you for your gracious tip, Peanut Butter. I thank you for watching, Peanut Better. Thanks for your inspiration. Thank you for your generosity and hang in there. Remember when you talk to older people and they say, oh, these are horrible times. Remember when the previous generation was coming up, they were trained in high school. If Russia sends a nuclear bomb, to go underneath their desk and prepare for a nuclear war and duct tape your windows in your house, and that's going to keep you safe from a nuclear bomb. And then if you go to a generation, and also they had Vietnam, the previous generation. Then if you go to a generation before that, they had World War II, Hitler and everything else. So I wonder what people during the World War II era, when there was like no jobs, no opportunities, during World War II or right after, when they built like the Golden Gate Bridge in America, in California, that was after the Great Depression, when the government spurred jobs through infrastructure and people traveled all over the country to go to like bridges. And that's when a lot of state parks were built. A lot of nomads who camp at state parks, look up the history of your state park. Chances are it was built after the Great Depression to spur economic opportunity because times were so tough. There were bread lines. People had to stand on line for bread. So people would go to I watched a documentary on how the Golden Gate Bridge was built. People would go and they would wait on the bottom of the bridge, or they'd wait by the side of the bridge. They'd camp out, wait for someone to die working on the bridge because there wasn't safety standards or anything like now. And when that person would die, they would take their job. Now, I mean, it's like, and again, if people don't need to work, again, I say, God bless you. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, if you got too much time on your hands and you're doing substance abuse or you're in an unhealthy relationship or you're not financially well, they're not going to question you as hard as why you been in the workforce. So there's a lot more grace, and that's kind of the point. But I thank you again, Peanut Butter. I very much appreciate that. It's good to have everyone back. There is a good part about having everyone back in the general live chat, a little bit more exciting. And I'm very grateful. Again, thank you to all my members who have ever been part of the channel as we go into a new season. And I thank you. Let's go back to live comments. If I miss a comment, please don't take it out of disrespect. And please type it again. It's just that I just try to read everyone, but sometimes I miss one. So I believe I left off at Return of Heaven. Says over 5 inches of snow in Minnesota. Yeah, well, Minnesota is a very tough place to live. Shout out to Vicky. She moved from Minnesota to California. Shout out to Wandering Off. She moved from Minnesota to Venice, Florida. A couple of viewers I had. For me, why did I move to New Jersey to Florida? Well, one is if I didn't grow up in New Jersey, I wouldn't have had as many career opportunities. But in today's times, things are a little bit different than they were 20, 30 years ago. So there's a little bit more opportunity with remote work, with the internet, etc. But in the time I was coming up, that wasn't a thing. There wasn't smartphones when I was in my teens and early 20s. There was beepers. A couple of people had cell phones, but there was no smartphones, not until I got to my mid to late 20s. So say, look, I left New Jersey because I don't like to deal with snow. I don't like to deal with cold weather. Walking outside is very therapeutic. Not when you have some nasty woman say some nasty things to you because you feed the squirrels. But I tell you, that really ruined my day. But I really processed it. And I said to myself, Sam, are you going to walk back in her direction just to like give her a piece of your mind or give her a tough look? And then I processed. I said, Sam, you're a 41-year-old man. You're doing well. You don't need to hurt your life by getting into a frivolous argument, a very small, meaningless argument with some woman that no matter what I say to her, her life, her mind not going to change. This woman was probably in her 60s. She had on a bunch of makeup and stuff trying to act. I don't even know why she's walking. She could walk from here to heaven. She's not going to get younger. And I said to myself, thank God I'm not her child. Thank God I'm not one of her ex-husbands. Thank God I'm not even in her house, because I don't care how much money you have in life. That's like crazy. But you got to learn to deal with people. You say, well, that's why I'm not in the workforce, because I don't like to deal with people. Well, again, guys, you can be in a park. If you don't, you got to learn to navigate around people. That's exactly what I did today. I could have made another circle in that park and made a point to have some type of like altercation. But I chose, again, I'm middle-aged. I chose to just walk in a different direction and avoid her. And if one of the messages I can communicate, and hopefully the Wi-Fi is clear enough, let me know in the comment section if this is getting a lag. One of the lessons I would like to communicate, especially to the younger people in their teens and 20s, I know it's harder when you're younger because I remember when I was younger, but try to remember the seed to navigate around very contentious people, because you can have everything going well for yourself and you could destroy your life and you're not going to change that person. And then they win. I even thought about it. You get into a big argument, the cops come. How do you justify anything you say? You can't. And it's all negative. And so you got it. It's not easy, because I felt the rage in my soul, because I'm saying to myself, man, you're the sheep amongst the wolves. Why would someone really care that much if you're feeding a squirrel? And I said, Sam, it's a bigger thing than that. They got bigger issues. They look at life differently. Okay. And don't just let it go. So thank you, everyone. Next comment. So bottom line, though, Return to Heaven. Look, if you can move, many people have, it's the great migration. Many people during the coronavirus have moved because remote work again. Two is a lot of people retired. Baby boomers are retiring. So that's a lot of part of it. A fire-breathing moonbeam says, FYI, a lot of pain A lot of the pain who left are people who are retired, all caps. The younger generations are working. We are never getting those people back in the workforce, at least we aren't if things are stable. Um, yeah, well, look, my mom's retired. She still works on the side in her 70s with two bad knees. So I would just say this again, everyone has their own situation, and I'm not cracking the whip for anyone to do anything. I'm sharing my thoughts. I would just share my thoughts with the younger and middle-aged people. Remember, if you don't want to work now, that's fine. Just make sure that you have a retirement plan. Because talk to some of these seniors who are in their 60s and 70s, and they have to live on $1,500 a month or less. And remember, they chose to not work as much, maybe. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they were in a generation where women didn't, or they got divorced, or whatever. I'm not saying this applies to everyone. But I would love for the older people, those in the 60s and 70s and 80s, to make videos, to make statements that, look, I'm struggling, not just because of inflation, but even if inflation wasn't here, if you're going to try to live off $1,500, $1,000 a month, remember, you're not always going to be young enough to live in a car. Remember, you're not always going to have enough energy to DoorDash. And remember that you're not going to have the authority to bitch and moan and have people care when you chose to sit out. So, that's the reality of life, Emoji meme. I've been out of the workforce since February of 2018. I've been thinking of getting back, but I'm concerned about the health effects wearing a mask all day. Yeah, I would be more concerned. That's a valid concern, but I'd be more concerned about being idle for 2 years, the effects that it's had on probably your mental health, your physical health. You probably put on COVID weight, and you've probably been more depressed than ever. And probably financially, you've been worse than ever, at least after the stimulus drains off. So there's many jobs where you may not have to wear a mask. Maybe, you could, again, what can you do remotely? There's always customer service. There's dispatch work. Again, there's always the gig economy. There is always things you can do that you may be able to at least work the night shift where you're not around as many people, or if any people. You could be a security guard, work the night shift. There's no face mask there. Maybe when you go into a building and check something, but that's not the case for every job. So the biggest insecurity is when you're out of the workforce, getting back in, you don't want people to question you on this line of questioning. But they're not everyone is. But obviously, look, if you have I know there are some people mentally, they just don't like the mask, and I get that. I don't wear a mask anymore. I mean, I'm vaccinated, as long as I'm not required to, I don't. But I would tell you this, obviously you don't have to work at Starbucks. You don't have to work retail where you have to wear a mask. There's other jobs. What are the other jobs? Again, I would Google it. I'll put some effort into it. Again, because if you're not working, you got more time on your hands. So you got to harness that time and that energy and focus it and figure out what works for you. And I'm not saying any of these things in a negative way. And no one likes to be told what to do. So you got to kind of figure out, well, okay, what can I do that will work for my personality? Environment, again, guys, everyone should do whatever they want. But that's my opinion. Good job, Emoji Meme. Thank you for sharing. Thank you again, Peanut Butter. I love that avatar, and I love that tag name. Tom Stocks, hey, Sam. I hear you speak of having a W-2. Yep. And a side hustle, which I agree, and taught people along living within your means. Yes. That's part of the way to build wealth. Yep. My question is, do you have a W-2 job? Yes. Yep, I do. Twister, what's up, Sam? What's up, brother? How are you? Pat Go, hey, Sam. Being a barn cat is a full-time job. It is, but barn cats have to scrum around for food. And if I feed a stray cat food, I'm going to get yelled at by some lady who has an inheritance walking around the park. Tomcats, God bless them. Best wishes. Same to you. Love your attitude. I wish my son had your attitude. Stay positive, my friend. Well, thank you for that gracious comment. I pray for you and your son. Very tough to be a parent. It's very tough to compare children. I read a comment. One video I did, it's titled, I Hate Life. It was when I was down, but I was still very sober-minded in my approach to looking at life and hating it, but still remaining thankful. And, you can Google it, Inspirational Nomad, I Hate Life. There was a lady who left a comment on that video a few days ago, and she said, my son is always calling me, telling me how much he hates life. And I understand what he's saying. I understand what he's going through, but there's only so much I can take. I can't hear it anymore. I have to put up boundaries. See, that's the thing, guys and girls, also, like, if you're not working, if you're living with your parents, look, I get it that, you didn't ask to be born, and believe me, I get it. But all I can tell you is it's not going to get better by cursing your parents and staying in the house. So for me, the number one sales pitch to be in the workforce is to get your independence financially so you can get out of that house. And even though you're still going to have to go through life, it's going to be less suffering if you can do it. Good job. Forgive me for saying this wrong. Grand Maris. I know your name, but because I see it often in the comment section, but I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Good Friday evening from Michigan. Shout out to Michigan. It's got to be cold up there. But hang in there. Winter is 3 months. Every season is 3 months in most states. Winter it starts at the end of December, but it's pretty much January, February, March. Once you get to April, it's spring, but it doesn't get warm up north till about mid to late May. Jack, what's up, brother? Thank you for all your love and support, man. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Payday. Look, what's the best part about being in the workforce? Payday. And you can always increase that pay. And as Tom Stock says, if you live below your means, which is very much an emotional thing. It's not a mathematical thing. I was thinking past couple of days how hard it's been for me emotionally not to buy something. It's not been easy. But I don't want to buy something because I went through that season of life in my 20s where I bought a lot of things. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I work for them, and then you got to pay the price to pay it all off. The problem is, as you get into your middle age, you don't want to have things own you. You want to own things that serve a purpose in your life, and you want to start to look at retirement years. You say, well, you're looking at retirement. Why are you saying get back in the workforce? Because to me, the only way you can retire with dignity is if you've been in the workforce long enough, you save up. And you say, well, I'm 40 years old, I'm whatever years old, it's too late. Guys, every day is a day. So if you have a bad day because you have too much time on your hands and you're doing substance abuse or you're depressed and you're broke, forget about like the grant, just take a step forward. That's all the message is. But if you're happy and you're healthy and you're financially well, keep doing you. Because again, guys, I mind my business. I don't yell at other people. I'm just sharing my thoughts. Melvino. What's up, brother? I believe you were in the service, right? You retired after 20 years in the military service. There will come a time when half the country will take care of the other half. Yeah, I'm okay with that too. It doesn't bother me because I don't care who you are in society. If the wealth gap gets too big, you don't have society. So no matter what, you can't get around that. But again, I'll never be in favor of a system that rewards the lazy and penalizes the diligent. But I'm never going to be in favor of a system that says, let people die in the street. But again, in a first world country in 2022, no one starves to death. No one goes without basic needs. And I have people that I've known that have never worked and they have all their basic needs met. So are they happy, healthy? No, there's a lot to be said for that. I'm not saying work is going to cure their life, but they got too much time on their hands. So they do too much substance abuse. They're in unhealthy relationships and they're not financially independent enough to do anything on their own. So they got to keep the cycle of abuse. So, and they're not dummies. I'm not saying that they're rocket scientists, but guys, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to live a great life. I'm not a rocket scientist. So let me take my sweater off. Thank you for everyone watching. And thank you again, Peanut Butter, for that super chat. Click that thumbs up. I'm here, guys, still showing up. Public chats, no membership, still showing up. Don't have to, but still do. It's less pressure, though. It does feel less pressure. Take a hydration break. But now I'll take a hydration break. Don't even matter to me. Pat Go. I'm in Michigan and it smells like winter here. Yeah, I'm in South Florida, and South Florida has a smell of like pine, of now not pine trees, but there's like this. I don't know the name of it. There's like this wood smell in the air, must. And when I say must, not like funk, like some type of like wood. I'm not sure what it is. If anyone knows in the comment section, let me know what that smell is. And I like that smell. ESP. Hey there, what's up, ESP? I'm about to enjoy my free live stream. I'll tell you guys, in times of inflation, I have cut the prices down to zero. And what would I recommend every entrepreneur do? Cut your prices when everyone raises them. Why? Guys, I want to tell you in life, sometimes you take a step back to take a step forward, and you live below your means so you can have creative freedom to kind of make decisions that other people aren't willing to make. So I'm not living below my means so I can figure out what's the best RV to buy, what's the best house to buy. Now I do want to improve something here. I'm still stuck on that. I'm not past that, but I'm also not obsessed by that. And I'm also always remember I'm living below my means so that I could have less pressure, not less work necessarily, but I could choose a little bit more of my work, and I can choose more of how I spend my time. I don't have to work side work just to pay the bills. Because there was a time I was still doing what I do now. I had a W-2 job and I was working side work, but I was just getting by because I wasn't living within a budget. So there's a time for that. But there's a time to get past that. And so now with the surplus that I've maintained, the real emotional discipline of not consuming, because again, guys, you cannot work and get money and be retired, but if you don't have any discipline, you're going to find that you're going to consume material things, drugs, and people, relationships, more than you need, and maybe even food. One thing, like when I sold my house and I lived in a car, well, now it kind of forces me to choose when I eat, but I had lost weight before I had sold my house. I had a job before I sold my house. I had a surplus before I sold my house. So I always tell people looking to get on the road, if you think quitting your job, selling your things, and living in your car is the answer, in my opinion, initially it may feel like that, but long term you're going to suffer. And as you get older, you will suffer more. That's been my experience with people. So remember that. Pat Go, I fully submerged in long johns today. Well, yeah, I understand that cold life. I've lived that cold life. It was in the 70s today in South Florida, and I can't fully, I need it in the 80s to fully submerge. I do feel my quality of life is less when I don't submerge, but I don't want to get sick. Hey, Marin, what's up? Good to see you, Marin. Thank you for everything. I looked, Milford Motors has a great, I believe your husband Tom still works there, has a great RV, the Falcon 18 footer, the white and light blue one. I really like that one. Emoji Meme, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Emoji Meme. Thank you for the advice, Sam. I'm going to get back to work. Yeah, Emoji Meme, you're a smart woman. You're an entrepreneur. So the good thing about anyone who's on their own business, you know the perspective of the employee and the employer. And if you know both of those perspectives, you're going to do great in the workforce because you're not delusional that it's all about the employee, and you're not delusional that it's all about the employer. You understand, if you've once owned a business, even if you've done DoorDash, you're an independent contractor. You understand that you have to work to make the delivery for DoorDash, which is basically the contract that you get. You get a contract from DoorDash. And you, as a business person, have to make that delivery efficiently, responsibly, and with good customer service to ensure that you get the money back and that DoorDash gets more business. And if you were once pampering the puss, Emoji Meme was a coochie spa specialist, you know that, yeah, you got to deal with some people that got nasty cooch smell. But you know, the worse the cooch smells, the more money you're going to make. Every problem can be converted into a dollar, and not maliciously. But you got to put up with some smell, some dookie, some inconvenience. But you say, oh, well, that's why I don't want to work. I don't want to deal with that. And again, if you're healthy, you're doing well, and you're financially independent, I'm not speaking to you. But if you're not in a good place emotionally, physically, mentally, mainly because you got too much time on your hands, and that's leaking into depression, substance abuse, etc., gossip, and you're not financially well, then to me, not because I care, again, do what you want, I think it only helps you. And, you know, I'm a big believer in what can you do to help yourself, because waiting for other people to help you is like hurting yourself. And what I found in life, the more you try to help yourself, the more people feel for you because they empathize, like, man, this person's trying to do well for them, and they try to give you even more help. So, again, the message tonight, it's very hard once you've been out of something, out of the workforce, to get back in, because there's a lack of confidence, there's a lack of flow, but it's just like riding a bike. It's just like driving a car. It's just like, whatever, giving a blowjob. I don't give blowjobs, but once you get back into it, guys, it's going to become second nature. And before you know it, you are, I don't want to say something too nasty, but I got to say it to bring home the message. You're deep throating the career. And I say that only to bring home the point, okay, that what you once thought was too big to handle, now you're swallowing. And again, I know it's very graphic, but the only way to wake up people sometimes is I got to give an extreme parable. Like Jesus spoke in parables so that those who are seeking the answers find it. I speak in parables so that I can wake up those who are just getting up from a nap and bring home the message of, if you need to get back in the workforce, now's a great time, because people are not going to look at you strange for not working for 2 years. They're going to be happy that you're applying. If you have a somewhat decent personality, probably even if you got a nasty personality, you'll be okay. And, you know, you'll figure it out. Fox, 99-cent super chat. Fox. In times of inflation where the Dollar Tree, it cost $1.33 after tax, because I just bought some AA batteries that didn't work from the Dollar Tree. 99 cents will get you very far in this free chat, because I, as an entrepreneur, have lowered the price to $0. Why? Because, guys, do the opposite. Reverse engineer the craziness, okay? And you will find sanity. Love to you. Thank you, Fox. Fox used to work at the Dollar Tree. Well, you know, like I know, every time I go to the Dollar Tree, Dollar General, there's one common denominator. In front of every store is now hiring. And I want to tell you, if you think you don't have what it takes, okay, to ring the register at the Dollar Tree, guys, all you got to do is get a scanner, scan. Now, my mom tells me when she goes to the Dollar Tree, like, Sam, I could do that job, but I can't stand up for that long because she's in her 70s, she's overweight, she's got bad knees. So what could you do? You could sit down, okay, and give out tickets at the carnival. What else could you do? I don't know. You got to find what you can do, okay? But there's going to be something. Now, but again, when you're in your 70s, you shouldn't have to look for something to do. So now my mom, some of it is just to keep her busy. So you got to remember all those things. Doug Free, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Doug Free, very much for that gracious super chat. I truly appreciate that. I saw that you were the last member to join my channel before I canceled all the memberships. So I acknowledge you, Doug Free, for your generosity, your support. All my past members, all the people in the chat tonight. It's good to have back. I'm very grateful. Still showing up and trying to be even more positive than ever. Trying to be even cheaper than ever. Trying to give even more value than ever. What's more value than totally free? I want to tell you today. When Dollar Tree costs $1.33 and Inspirational Nomad is straight $0 in your face, guys, we've reversed engineered inflation and we've brought it down to deflation. Okay? And so I want to thank you, Doug. Doug, thank you, everyone. Let's go back to these live comments. I love everyone. Remember, don't get offended if I say something that hurts you. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to make points sometimes in a way, okay, where it kind of like wakes you up, but not to be hurtful. Because believe me, when that lady said something nasty to me today, it just brought home the point again, like you're sheep amongst the wolves. Like I get it if I was causing a problem, but to be, which I always do, I go by myself in a corner of a park, I feed the squirrels, to come over by me and to say some nasty things because I'm feeding squirrels. I mean, I get it. I understand, don't feed the animals. But I mean, I don't understand how someone can be that nasty. And I understand it. But what I really empathize is, look, I'm under self-control by the grace of God, and I understand life, and I've seen people destroy their life. And I said to myself, man, I can imagine someone who doesn't have this self-control totally getting an argument with this lady and have the cops called and everything. I felt that pain because I felt rage. But I also felt the spirit of the Lord. I mean, I got self-control by the grace of God, man. But I could lose it. I'm human. But I said to myself, man, and then the other day, man, I ran, I just, once in a while I run into someone that got bad energy. And I say to myself, man, there's people down here, man, you got to be careful. Just be careful, man. Don't let them get you. Back to live comments. ESP says, hey, Back Go. Hey, ESP. Now you'll have money to buy grizzly bear treats. Yeah, ESP, she's going to save up that money for that Class B. Am I mad at her? I'm not mad at anyone. And I still like the Class B, but the negative with the Class B, you buy an $80,000, $100,000 van. It's not as fun to drive as a regular car or SUV, no matter how you cut the pie. You got more comfort, which I think is a thumbs up to it. But you got more expense, and now it's like when you buy a house, they say, well, now you got to cook home. To me, a big part of fun of life is eating out. So it's like, do you want to buy a home so now you have to cook home? Do you want to buy a Class B so now you have to make your own coffee in a Class B? But if it's below your means, I still look at it. It's still an option for me. The one thing I like about the Class B is I can get into some private campgrounds that I can't in now. So that would solve some of the problem. I definitely like the majority of my time being in campgrounds now. I still stealth camp when I need to, but I have been reserving campgrounds a year in advance just in case I don't get a home base by next year, because I've really made a commitment, as long as I can do it within a budget, that I'm going to be stabilizing. So let's go back to the live comments. Tom Stocks. It's happening now, Malvano, as less than half the population pays federal employment tax, and it's going to get worse. Well, remember, tax, it doesn't matter who doesn't pay tax. Why? Because who paid to back the bond market during the coronavirus? Taxpayers. So if you don't like that people don't pay taxes, you don't like that the stock market's up, because the only reason the stock market's up is because the Federal Reserve backed the bond market and they lowered the interest rates to zero. That all came from the taxpayers' coffin. We subsidize, and we're still subsidizing. They're still buying bonds. The Federal Reserve has not stopped tapering. So if you hate that regular people don't pay federal tax, you must hate that we're subsidizing stocks, because we still are. They're still buying bonds. So, and you have Tom Stocks, so you must hate that stock market's high. You must hate that you made money in the stocks, because they've been subsidized by United States coffers. So it's all a game, and you can cut the pie either way. The game needs to be basically, if we back the bond market, everyone in the country gets a dividend off the revenue of the average of the S&P 500 reporting companies. Okay, and when we take a loss, if we're like we did last year or 2 years ago, when the stock market goes down, if we subsidize, then we get profits. And look, now, do you want to tie that to some type of community service or something? That's something you can look at. But all I can tell you is what I've seen, because I've worked in the corporate world. I've worked within Wall Street. I've worked within construction. I've worked within retail. I've seen all the scams. And the biggest scam, the system is not necessarily all evil, because the system, what other system is better? You can't tell me one. Barter and trading is, guys. So, but there's basic ways to make some basic improvements where everyone feels like they're part of something. And you're always going to have the 1% of psychopaths. You're always going to have a woman that comes up to you, or man, that mad that you're feeding the squirrels because they feel like you're creating an environment where you are Joe Biden. You're subsidizing too many people. You know, there's a guy who loves Trump, and he has a PayPal link. He has an Amazon affiliate, and he gives his P.O. box so people can send him stuff. Why? He wants free peanuts. So, look, guys. Trump asked the Federal Reserve to lower the interest rate. Biden is sleeping behind inflation. I say both. Both of them failed us. But the bottom line, guys, is I still feel better in 2022 with inflation high and contention low, rather than 2019 with contention high and inflation, lower. So you pick your poison in life. And that's just the politics of life. ESP laughing. Pat Go, I don't poke bears or feed them. Yeah, look, I want to tell you this. Poking a bear means you're intentionally causing trouble to get a reaction out of someone, which I think is very negative. I've walked away from a home base and I blocked someone because of that. Now, feeding a bear, I probably would not do. So, well, if you feed squirrels, why would you not feed a bear? Well, guys, I have something called common sense, or just basic reason. It's like, that's like asking someone, oh, if you compliment a beautiful person that they look good, why don't you compliment an ugly person? Oh, if you like dating a tall guy, why don't you like dating a short guy? You make a judgment call. Okay. Oh, if you want to have two kids because you want one boy, one girl, why you do that? Why don't you adopt a kid? Everyone makes judgments. Okay. I make a judgment to feed squirrels, not bears. Okay. You can do that, guys. You can actually decide. Now, you can say, I don't want to feed any animal. It's fine. I'm not mad at anyone. You can say, I don't want to work. I'm not mad. Just remember, when you get to retirement, it's a different story. Tom Stocks. It's been happening now. I read this. ESP. Oh, yeah, I read that. Sims Workshop. Hey, Sims. Hello from Denmark. Shout out to Denmark. What happened to the light outside? It got dark. Right now in America, in the Eastern time zone, it's about 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in the winter, the sun goes down around 6 p.m. or so, depending where you're at in the country. I'm close to the equator. I'm in South Florida. In the summer, the sun goes down about a little after 8 p.m. So that's where the sun went. Love to you, man. What time is it in Denmark? Pat Go. Is there 10 feet of snow in Denmark? Grand Mars, no lag. Thank you, Grand Mariers, for letting me know the internet is good. Return of Heaven. It lagged once, but it's good. Thank you for that feedback. ESP, no lag. Excellent. Loud and clear. Thank you. Pat Go. Barn cats are busy this time of year. They are. Why? Because they have to survive. Stray cats have to survive. And look, when you tent camp, when you live in a car, you're in survival mode, not thriving mode. Now, I still thrive, but I want to be honest. Once you find out where you want to live, once you kind of use the nomadic life to get away from the conforming life, to reset your life, after 5 years or so, you're going to get stuck where you're just in survival mode. You're not in thriving mode. You're not in building. And look, you can run around like a stray cat and say they have more fun, but you're also wearing yourself out to get basic resources where if you just stabilize yourself, you can still live an adventurous life and be an indoor cat. So eventually that's what I'm looking to do. I just can't find the right property. I've gotten close, and it breaks my heart every time I don't end up going through with it for whatever reason. There's been a lot of different reasons. But it's still my goal if it makes sense. Because I don't see the stray cat life, the nomad life, as a long-term solution. For me, everyone's got to figure that out, but I've been on the road for 5 years. I don't go back to a home base for half the year. I don't, during the pandemic, I don't go into a rental. I went into a hotel for one time in 5 years when I got my second vaccine, just in case I was going to get sick. So, did I like it? No, it wasn't a home base. I liked it initially, then I got a little bit tired of it. Why? Because again, it's like the problem with renting, whether it's an apartment or Airbnb or a hotel, your mind is like all right, well, when's my lease up? When's my hotel stay up? I'm on to the next thing. So you're still like in nomad life without the outdoors as much. So, your home base, again, it can get boring, but if you buy it below your means in an area you want to spend most of your time, that's what I'm looking for, that level of balance. And even the RV lot where you're still outside a lot of times, but you have stability. Because I can tell you that everyone wants to live an adventurous life because they're stuck in a house that they're not inspired with, living with people they're not inspired with. And I'm not mad at you for wanting to do that, but just put some thought into your long-term strategy. Back to live comments. Tom Stocks. You did the right thing, Sam, as the lady is miserable. And people like that love to make others miserable. I ignore people like her and sometimes laugh and always keep walking. Yeah, even laughing like sarcastically would have caused a problem, I feel. And I learned, like, when I'm really upset or even when I really feel threatened, what I do is I just pause, okay? And I calculate what I'm going to do, okay? Like when I was confronted, when I was in the South Carolina, one time I felt like it may have been an issue on the road. Only been a handful of times. I was in South Carolina at a truck stop at like midnight, and someone came up to me and they wanted to start a conversation. And they see like I wasn't really talking back. Because to me, I got nothing to say to someone at midnight at a truck stop, not a stranger. And I knew what the hustle, I knew there's some type of hustle involved. Okay. So, I acknowledge them. So, but I also then go back to what I'm doing so they know that I'm not interested in engaging. So I saw that he wasn't going to let that be. So, now, I see, he goes, oh, you don't want to talk to me? So I hear a tone change. I know what he's trying to say. So now I'm like, but I'm not saying nothing and I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just gently repositioning myself in case I need to make a decision. And he sees me do that, so he knows too. My body language is now saying 80% of the conversation, but it's not in a threatening way. It's in a self-defense way and a structured self-control way. See, if your body language gets too aggressive, you're going to spur action, but you need to address it, but you need to be very cautious. Okay, so this is not easy. Okay, but I'm telling you, this is what you deal with in life. Forgive me for saying this name may be wrong. Bronze Fire Super Duty. Cool. Non-member chat is open. Yeah, in times of inflation, guys, free is the best deal you're going to find. Sims Workshop. Pat Go. Yes, a week ago. Pat Go. It's cold in Michigan. I shit Rocky Road ice cream. Well, if you're going to shit ice cream, that's be a good one. Strawberry ice cream's good. Pecan butter ice cream. Chocolate sprinkles be my favorite. Marin, you're so right. It's a great move or shift. Gen X is coming up. However, what do you think? Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, obviously the baby boomers retiring and then passing away. You have the next generation, which some of them are going to get an inheritance, and some of them got caught in drugs. So they're out of the workforce. They're probably never going to come back. And then there's some that I don't know. I wouldn't know how anyone else would survive without either inheritance or a government subsidy. I don't know how you survive without working. I don't know. But I don't try to figure out other people. I just try to tell you guys and girls that don't look at society, look at yourself. If you're in a good place physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, then you're doing something right. But if you have too much time and that's causing you to do substance abuse, food abuse, relationship indulgence, and you're not financially stable, it's a great time to get back in the workforce because you're not going to be questioned. In most cases, you're going to be welcomed with open arms if you have a positive attitude and show up. They're not going to care too much about your resume. And they're not even going to care about your school. Even now, college is not looked at that highly. I often tell Twister, don't even worry about college. I mean, I'm not saying don't worry about college. I'm not saying don't worry about certifications. But I'm saying get in the workforce and then you'll figure all that out. Back to live comments. Ryan retracted. I'm sorry, Ryan. I didn't get to that fast enough. Forgive me. And I missed Simon's workshop. Pat goes, since 1985, we the snow have been less from every year. Marcy, hey, Marcy. Hey, Sam, good to see you. Stay warm. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, 70s during the day, so that's very mild. Even though I do like it a little bit hotter, but it's a good break. Nighttime is perfect sleeping conditions for a nomad, 50 degrees or so. So it's perfect camping conditions. Back go. I don't chase the polar bear. Well, that's a good job because other than a Klondike bar, I don't think you want, even that, you don't want to have too many. If you're not working and you're eating Klondike bars all day, it's not going to be good. Kenneth, what's up, Kenneth? What's up, Sam? Been watching you for a while now. Great wisdom and entertaining. Thank you. I'm from, B-Mall, shout to Baltimore. I did a few videos from Baltimore back in the day. Yeah, shout to Maryland. Moved from Baltimore 7.5 years ago to Kissimmee, Florida. Okay, you're in Central Florida. Shout out to you, man. Have I ever been to Kissimmee, Florida? I think I drove by, but I haven't spent too much time in Central Florida. Shout out to you, Kenneth. Ryan, it's always best to avoid altercations. 100 emoji. Try to be good in this world. Well, even if you can't be good, just try not to be caught in a bad situation. The rule is spread the love. Well, I spread the love by not spreading the hate. Sometimes in life, guys, the best, spreading the love is just not getting involved in something that you could avoid. And that's what I did. Thank you. Boston. Hey, Boston. Hey, guys. Just noticed the live and figured I would say what's up and hit the like button. Thank you, Boston. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone in here tonight. Thank you for those who clicked the thumbs up. Thank you for the generous super chats. Thank you to all my past members. Open chat, guys. Here we go. Simon. I found you through the video. Oh, thank you for sharing me. You found me through the video I Hate Life. Oh, did you? Thank you. Because I searched it on YouTube. I did too at one time. Thank you. After having been down for 2 years straight. I understand. Thank you, Simon. I appreciate that. Return of Heaven. If anyone hates life, they need Jesus. Well, I already have Jesus, and I still hate life, and I still curse the Lord sometimes. And they need to get to work. Well, I work, and I still hate the Lord. I love the Lord, but I still sometimes curse the Lord. Jesus asked God, "Why'd you forsake me?" Moses cursed God and asked him to kill him. Moses killed 3,000 people. So Return of Heaven, read the scriptures. I love that you love the Lord. I love the Lord, but I also curse the Lord. I also hate the world sometimes. We're sheep amongst the wolves. And there's no guarantee of heaven. But we keep the faith, and I do believe in the spirit of Jesus and the spirit of the context of the scriptures. So if we're not honest in that, and if we're not honestly reading all of the scriptures, when Moses asked basically God to kill him, when Jesus questioned God, when all these people suffered through life, even in the book of Ecclesiastes, he pretty much said life is meaningless. I believe that was King Solomon. He said, what are we going to do? He said, don't be too good. Why destroy your life? And then he says, don't be too bad. Why die before your time? That means maybe get a blowjob, maybe have some fun. But don't go chasing prostitutes. Don't go becoming a drug addict. Why? You're going to die before your time. You got to find balance. And the scripture goes on to say, those who fear God and love God will avoid both extremes. And have I been extreme at time? Of course. And it's not easy to balance out. I love you. Boston, you have to find things you love and care about. I do. It's still tough. It takes a lot of work. Yes, just try to get through each day as best you can. But eventually the work itself out, you feel good. Well, again, as you get older, it's tougher to get that feeling maintained. But you get through each day as healthy and as positive as possible, and that's a win. Live to fight another day. Avoid unnecessary risks. Take the L sometimes and move on. Tom Stocks, very true about seniors trying to live in later years off $1,500 per month. That's why it's important to sacrifice and build wealth in your 20s, 30s, 40s to set up for later years. Yes, and I acknowledge the previous generation. Again, the women didn't have as many opportunities in the workforce. Society did not have a lot of financial literature out there. And so, we're in a time now where the internet, there's abundance of information. There's an abundance of certain opportunities. You said, well, 30 years ago, you can work and you can get a pension. You can work for the same company. Yeah, how many people want to work for the same company for 30 years and get a pension and die in Michigan? I don't know too many people want to do that. Now, I know a lot of people will do that because they fear change. But so remember, guys, you sacrifice sometimes the security for a life you hate. Yeah, you can retire with a pension and live the majority of a life in a place you hate. Now, I'm not saying you should live destitute in a place you love. Balance, very important. Back to the live comments. Pat Go. My friend said I eat like a raccoon. I did an emoji of a raccoon to my mom today, a GIF. I don't care. I'm staying positive. Well, I love that about you, Pat Go. Boston. I'm hoping we can all try and prevent substance abuse. I can't do it before it happens for the next generation. It's been happening for years. There were alcoholics in the Bible. The first miracle was changing water into wine. Now, not that Jesus was a glutton or a drunk, but I'm saying all that to say, I do believe that through awareness, people have an opportunity to not go to drugs without being aware and not understanding the risk. But you're never going to eliminate bad behavior. You say, well, what if we make it all like prohibition, no alcohol? We did that already. I mean, what that happened? That led to the rise of the mafia. There were a lot of people that voted against, immigration because of the MS-13 gang. What about the mafia? What about JFK? He was elected because he knew the mafia, Italian mobsters. And that they were all brought to power through the money they funneled through bootlegging alcohol. So I remember going to a bootleg alcohol spot, on Sundays when they didn't sell hard liquor in certain areas. Okay, so guys, hard drugs, even now though, they're doing it with fentanyl and certain things. Government's cracking down on certain things. So I don't know though if you can ever cure certain abuse or certain levels of poverty, because there's a certain mindset. But I do always feel that humans can improve the human condition, because they have. If you look at 2022 verse 1922, we're doing better than the last global pandemic. In 1922, they were not doing as good when they faced the flu. So, when you remember that perspective, you say, well, maybe yes. And I think that the government has stopped certain free range of prescriptions for fentanyl and all these things. Now, some people get caught in a bad position with them, but it's going to take a generation to cycle out. And, look, the biggest drug dealer now is not selling crack. The biggest drug dealer now is your prescription refill. And so, but that doesn't mean all prescription refills are bad. It doesn't mean modern medicine is bad. Again, I know some people that they hate the vaccine, they hate modern medicine, but it's like Dr. Fauci is engineering their child through unnatural childbirth. So people want to pick and choose what they put their body at risk for. What do I say people should do? Again, people should do whatever they want. But I always do say, remember, when you bring a child into this world, what are you bringing them into? I think this world is doing better than it's ever done. But I don't think that you're ever going to change a certain mindset. Because, like we said, there'll always be trolls. There'll always be, I know, we'll have some in here, and I know I can still block. But there's certain people that their DNA, before the vaccine, their DNA is wired in a way, because they haven't been vaccinated. And I'm not against all people who are not vaccinated, because I have some great friends that are unvaccinated. I'm just saying there's a certain mindset out there. It's always been nasty. And they're always going to be nasty. They're always going to argue with you. So self-control and avoid them. Don't lose your job because of someone else. Don't lose your cool in the live feed, because even that, I'm growing, right? I'm evolving. I'm still going to be passionate. I'm still going to get intense about an answer. But I could grow. And I've shown that throughout my life. And remember, when someone's trying to pull you down, they're coming from a place that's below where you're at. When someone's trying to pull you up, remember, they're at somewhere you may want to be. Remember, ultimately, you have to make the decision. You can decide to put energy into positive, productive things that earn an income and that increase your life quality. Or you can turn to destructive things. And maybe your father was like that. Maybe you have just given up on life, or maybe you're just DNA wired like that. That's part of life. I'm not going to figure out life. I'm not God. I'm going to figure out what I need to do for me, and I'm going to avoid as many conflicts as I can. Why? Because this is the message tonight. And I want to thank everyone. We're still here, guys, all lumping up. Let's go forward. I showed up, and I'm very grateful for all the positive people. Let's go forward, guys. I send you as sheep amongst the wolves. But, hey, guys, look, the wolves are going to die before their time. And whether you live past them or not, bottom line is we got to get through this world, so we'll be fine. Back to live comments. If I missed a comment, please type it again. I believe I left off at Simon's workshop. What is your advice for a guy who hates going to work, hate living life? I would say reverse engineer that thought. Meaning that if you hate life and you hate going to work, what's the opposite? You love life and you love going to work. Can that be the case? No. All right. So bottom line is this. If you don't go to work, does your life get better? No. Because I don't know how subtracting income is going to make your life better. Because then you're going to have to live with more people. You're going to hate them even more. Now, if you can work and get ahead where you don't have to work and you can maintain a healthy schedule, I'm not against that. But if you hate life now and you have a job, what I've seen in life, actual experience, I haven't seen anyone who's quit their job and can't afford to and then love life more. So if you hate, you're only going to hurt yourself more. It's not about me. It's not about society. Because again, I don't care to me. But if you're asking me what advice I would give someone, I would say one is do whatever you want. So I give you the freedom to do whatever you want. But I would say, I don't think it's going to help you if you quit your job, if you can't afford to. But I would say maintain the job. And if you really hate a certain job, I hated construction, but I worked it until I can get a better job. So work the job you may hate. Try to find a job that may play to your personality. If you're very antisocial, work the night shift, and then mix in some side work like DoorDash, etc., so that you have more control. Then live below your means so that you feel like, again, you're going to empower yourself. You're going to get a little bit of head. That's a confidence builder and an independence builder. And then learn to manage your off time. See, once you do those things, then you have self-control. Then you have confidence that you're actually doing something. If you quit your job, no matter how you feel, if you can't afford to do it, you don't have confidence, you feel bad, and you got more time, but you don't have the structure. So if you're able to do that with a job, then you can do that with your personal life. Your personal life, it's your business. And you got to manage your money, your time, your emotions. And doesn't mean that I still hate life sometimes. But I know I can't stay in that place and just hate life all day, because then I'm going to suffer more. My money, my health. So I'm about suffering less. So that's my advice. Like, why suffer more? I don't have a sales pitch of you're going to do something in life where you're never going to suffer. But I think if you can maintain a job, find a job you like even more, and transfer it responsibly without quitting, live below your means, find out where you want to live, have healthy relationships or no relationships, exercise, and then show up when you don't want to show up. Guys, sometimes I don't want to show up. You got to do some things you don't want to do, but eventually you'll figure out a flow to get through the day as best you can. And that's your best life, right? The smell is all thrown out Christmas trees. Well, not in South Florida. I don't know what that smell is, because even in the summer or in the fall when I come from New Jersey back to Florida, I still smell there's some type of like tree smell in the air. I'm not sure what that is. Adam, good evening, sir. Adam, love to you, man. Another person from Michigan. Great to have you, Adam. Thank you for everything. Forgive me for saying this name wrong. Mardig, does not having a home address affect your job prospects? No. I don't know anyone that's got denied a job because they don't have an address. And you got to have an address. How do you have a license? How do you live in your car if you don't have a license? There's your address. So if you don't have a license, then, what's your address and your license? In Florida, let's say you can register as a homeless person, get a driver's license. So the reason you won't get a job is normally because you won't show up. And if you look at your life, Mardig and anyone listening, you never got fired because you didn't have a home address. You never not had, maybe there's a couple jobs that said that, but there's way more. And a lot of you who asked that question, I'm not being disrespectful, please don't take it that way. A lot of people ask that question. They figure out how to game the system, how to get subsidies, how to lie about their prescription pills, but they don't figure out how to get around a home address. You have enough understanding to get around things. So you can't just use that to fill your prescription pills. You can't just use that, okay, to live in your car and to stealth park. Okay, how do you get away with parking somewhere where legally you can't? You got to be honest with yourself. Because if you play that tit for tat game, I'm not saying that a home address and being a nomad is a concern, but if you YouTube search, how do I get an address and be a nomad? There's thousands of videos on that. So there's no way that should be an issue at this point. I understand before, like there was YouTube, maybe that was an issue. So I don't want to devalue the question, but I want to encourage those asking that question, and including you, to do a basic search, to ask yourself those basic questions, and that will give you the answer. Because I don't want to talk down to you. I don't want to hurt you or be disrespectful towards you, but I want to, have an honest conversation with you. Emoji Meme, thank you again very much for that super chat. I very much appreciate you. I know you've been a long time viewer. That's my girl, Showgirls. What's up, Showgirls? Hey, friend. Hey. Let me know if you're still in here, Showgirls. So many people have gone to remote online work. Yeah, to me, that's one of the blessings of the coronavirus. It accelerated that technology push to remote work for many people, not all. Twister fire emoji. Thank you, Twister. Good to see you, brother. Emoji Meme was last on at my comments earlier. Thank you. Fox, thank you also again for that super chat. Yep, Doug, he also stated that they used to work at the Dollar Tree, or her, forgive me. Doug Free, hey, Sam. I remember, yep, you were my last member to sign up. I checked that, and I appreciate that, Doug Free. Thank you. Thank you for that tip today, and thank you for being my last sign-up member. Gregory, hey, Gregory, never forget it. Yep. I actually got that. There's nothing new under the sun. Everyone takes something and puts their own twist on that. I got that, never forget that, from a pastor I used to watch online called Dr. Mike Murdoch. Now, I don't like him. I think he was a little bit of a con artist, but he had wisdom. I call it how it is. So, it's like if you listen to any coach, if you listen to any philosopher, like there's a lot of quotes online that are attributed to many people. But a lot of those people got it from other people. Like, I just put my own twist on it, but I kind of got it from him. Again, do I fully like him? No. But did he give wisdom? Yeah. So I'm sure just like people, right? They don't fully like me. They don't fully like, but they get stuff from me. Everyone's like, and remember, that's you. If you say that about me or other people can say that about you. Like, yeah, I don't like anything about you either, but we get something from you. Everyone has that. Fox. They laid me off because of no vaccine. Well, there's many jobs where you don't need a federal, where you don't need to be back. The only reason you would get laid off is if you were a federal employee, you work for the government, or if you were directly in healthcare. So, and even if that wasn't the case, there's many other jobs that you can get. There's an abundance of jobs that without the vaccine. So, so you have options. Oh, hey, Jimmy James, what's up, man? Great to be back. Good to have you, man. I remember you, longtime viewer. Thank you. Doug Free, thank you again for that gracious tip. Showgirls, 50 on chat now. Yeah, we're at 51. It's fluctuated. Certainly a free chat will bring more people than the members, but for the members, we connected for a season. I think it was valuable to have those intimate chats. I think in times of inflation, let's bring it down to deflation. And I think, let's reverse engineer the world. Fox. That's why it's only 99 cents. Well, Fox, I'm not entitled to anything. Why? Because I'm vaccinated and I'm willing to work. So for me, I don't have to manipulate people and I can make the chats free, and I don't want to take your money unjustly. However, I'm not going to turn away a tip. Why? Because I'm showing up. I'm going to be honest, direct, and I'm trying to be under self-control so that I'm not hurtful in my comments back. I know it's not easy. And again, I apologize if I hurt people, but that's what I want to share with people. Pat, go. I went through the Starbucks drive-thru riding a llama. Well, that sounds like fun. I like that. Hey, Murdoch, what's up, man? Shout out to Canada. I believe you're in Canada, right? Good evening, Sam. Love to you, brother. Twist up, fire emoji. Thank you. Hassan, what's up, man? How are you? Good. Good to see you, man. Thank you. Christina, hey, Christina. Good to see you. Fox. People are too comfortable, too crazy with too much time on their hands. Well, some, and again, if people are healthy, happy, and they're doing well for themselves, I don't care what people do. But I saying use this time where there's a lot of opportunity to get in the workforce. If you do have too much time on your hands and you're getting in trouble, or you're abusing substance, or you're not as financially stable as you could be, use this time to get back in where they're not going to ask you a lot of questions. And if one employee or the federal government or healthcare employees going to ask you, go to a different sector and, pivot. I went from retail to construction to corporate to entrepreneur, etc. You can change, but you got to go through the process. Back to the live comments. Showgirl says, Showgirls is a nomad also in Florida on the northwest not upper peninsula, what do they call it? The Panhandle area. And let's see what she has to say here. She goes, you can get a P.O. box. The postmaster gives you a physical address for your packages to be delivered with no problems. You use the physical address on your application as your home address. Solved. Well, there's Showgirl's perspective. Thank you, Showgirls. Return of Heaven. The biggest turnoff for living anywhere for me is crime. I agree with that. I think that's an excellent comment. You don't want to live in a bad neighborhood. Have I ever been in that bad neighborhoods? Yes. Have I stayed there for a long period of time? Some. But over time, you want to get out of a bad crime, high crime area. Why? It's not the best environment. And that's why you work, to get out of it. If you don't work, then you may not be able to get it. Now, there's other circumstances behind other people, because I know people, they just got caught in a bad cycle, and for whatever reason, some people just don't have it to adapt to a new surrounding. But if you can, that's the sales pitch for getting in the workforce, so you can get out of a bad situation. And Return of Heaven says you get what you pay for. To some extent, that's true. But you don't have to live in a multi-million-dollar house to get to a decent area. Everybody has been stealing. The Cadillac converter things. I see that. You gotta be in a bad area. I mean, I don't want to say that because I had someone try to break in my car in a decent area a couple times. Not in my Jeep, but in other cars I had. So there's no exact science to crime, but you do increase your risk in the worst areas. Like you can say, yeah, they don't mind stealth camping here. Yeah, they don't mind it, but they also don't mind to steal your Cadillac converter. So just be careful. But it can happen anywhere. You're just mitigating risk. Pat, Cartoon Mark, draw me a llama. I like llamas. Just don't feed the llamas. You may have some woman come up to you and say something nasty. What a nasty person. Christina, I live in my Jeep Liberty, and I'm happy when the weather is good or cold. Come spring, I will be getting a van with a window unit or small cheap apartment. Well, Christina, thank you for sharing. And if you're doing good and you're happy, I say God bless. Thank you. Fox, thanks for the Fed info money. Oh, no problem, Fox. Thank you. Christina, sorry I didn't get to that soon enough. Pat Go, does Denmark have a summer? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know about Denmark. I know Florida's endless summer, but I don't know about Denmark. Anyone know? Leave a comment. Return of Heaven. Yeah, Christina, I'm a targeted individual. Showgirls, haha. Christina, I am as well. I think most nomads are or will be. Christina, any free thinkers are. Well, look, nomads aren't free thinkers. Sometimes they're freeloaders. They want to live, park for free. They don't want anyone to bother them in any parking lot. And they want to laugh at other people paying rent and mortgages. When those rent and mortgages pay for the infrastructure, the community to be a nice community, the roads to be paved, the hospitals to be built. So look, us nomads, we shop at stores, but those stores exist because communities that pay property taxes and rent. We can't just say we're a free thinker. I do believe in free thinkers. I believe in being a free spirit, but we're all part of society. And you still have to respect the constraints of our society. I don't say you have to conform to it, but you have to respect that we're all part of it. And I think that kind of goes to a balanced mindset where you don't become this extreme nomad where you think that, you have the right to do whatever you want, and at the same time, you don't have such a conformist mindset that you can't engineer your own life within certain respects of society. Showgirls. Trump is starting his own website like MacBook, TikTok. Yeah, I saw he did that. He did a SPAC, some way to publicly offer it and went up and down. Look, everyone knows we don't need Trump. We don't need Clinton. Who are we going to get? I don't know. But if they love the country, let it be. Okay. Do they love the country? Look, not my opinion. I know some great people still love Trump. But, for me, guys, look, how I look at it is everyone knew when Trump got elected, they were holding their breath. And what they got was exactly what they thought. They held their breath all the way through the coronavirus, the January 6 riots, and all the way to the end. They got exactly what they voted for. Drama, spike, crash, conflict, and they knew he was a bad person. Now, what did they get with Biden? Brain dead, inflation, but less contention, less drama. So what are we going to get next? We'll see. Guys, no matter what in life, they've been arguing about politics since Caesar, okay, since the Roman Empire and before that, okay. So, obviously, I just spoke how I feel, get involved, but also, it is what it is. It's just the way life is. Hate that it's like that. Christina's laughing good. Pat, I'm going to morph into a cloud and then float down south. That sounds pretty fun. Go to Mark. Sam, the job asked me to plow snow this weekend for the snowstorm. I have a CDL. That's a great certification. I said yes, all for a Florida home. Well, for Cartoon Mark, I saw that it's not side work. It's selling your house and separating from toxic relationships. However, in the meantime, side work at least keeps you doing something productive and keeps you out of the house away from toxic relationships. But what I've learned in relationships, once you cross a barrier of extreme distrust or extreme resentment, you can never put that genie back in the box. Now, you can sleep in a separate room. You can suffer till you get your pension. But you could also sell your house, separate, leverage your career credentials and your CDL to get a job and use your parents' address in PSL, and you'd have no problem. Follow up. I love you, brother. You're going to figure it out. Return of Heaven. At Christina, anyone that doesn't comply with the brainwashing of satanic system. Well, I don't think it's the brainwashing of satanic system, because remember, Return of Heaven, hundreds of years ago, if you had a mental illness, they would have said you have a demon when maybe you just had autism. So, and remember, there's some people that have autism that they could actually do great in the workforce, but everyone has to remember that faith is good. Religion can be more of a brainwashing than society. Society can be brainwashing too. We want to balance the mind, and we want to acknowledge science. We want to acknowledge faith. We want to acknowledge society. We want to acknowledge the strip club. We want to acknowledge porn. And we want to acknowledge birth control and abortions. We want to acknowledge that there's some people that won't take a vaccine, but they'll unnaturally have a child in the name of natural. Guys, girls, I love everyone. And I'm not talking directly about anyone. Don't get offended. But we have to have an honest conversation about what life is. And life is all these things. And we must remember. Christina, the chosen. Well, guys, don't get delusional. But it's good to have the faith. Showgirls. Here in Destin, it is dark at 5 p.m. Yeah, depending where you're at, like up north, it gets even darker, even quicker than like in New Jersey. When I speak to people I know up there, it's darker before it's dark in South Florida. It's true. But even North Florida and South Florida have different climates. It's true. That's why I came to South Florida. I need to be tropical. John Buffalo, hey man, what's up? Hello to you. Christina, wheels are most stable and reliable things I've ever known. Well, I like living on wheels. I don't like parking sometimes. I don't like worrying about where I'm going to park all the time. At least at this point, 5 years on the road. public more. Driving is risky, and as you get older, those risks increase, and you have to plan for long term too. Frankie, hey Frankie, what's up, man? Prayers and 100. Thank you. Hey, Suitcase, what's up, brother? Great to see you, man. Howdy, shout to Tennessee. Are you in Tennessee still? Howdy, Sam. I'm glad you're well. I'm glad you're well also. On my second week at Google, good for you, man. 60 hours inside work. Now, that's construction talk. For anyone who's worked construction, outside works means you're working outside, you're not indoors. When they close up a building, whether commercial building, whatever building, indoor work is like, guys, you made it to the elite status. Okay, you're fucking, they got paint on the walls. They may even have like, women walking around, like, it's like, you made it to elite. I understand what inside work is. And that's when you can get a lot of overtime too, because they got a lot of punch list items. You got to meet a timeline. Yeah, I get it, man. So Suitcase, he works construction. I believe he's an electrician from Tennessee, I believe. He goes, and he was living out of his van at one time. I'm not sure if he still is. He goes, decent bread. Oh, you're going to make money at the end here. Because if you're inside, that means they're towards the end. They got to meet the deadline. Waiting on DC, though. Okay, you're going to go to DC. DC, a lot of work up there, too. Definitely a lot of work in the DC, Virginia. Very congested up there, though. Yeah, $50 an hour you're probably on. Hip and fatten up that pension. Yeah, look, that's the one good thing. Yeah, IBW, so International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Yeah, so that's the one good thing about unions or government work. Pensions. The one bad thing, if you're not a travel person, if you're not a journeyman, or if you can't travel, then you're stuck in one place. So make sure you live where you want to live, because a pension is not worth trading in your entire life. But he's a traveler, journeyman, so he's able to travel. But he knows, like I know, there's certain part of the countries that just don't have a lot of work or don't pay well. So you end up in kind of like same spots, So, but like I remember I worked with a guy to South Dakota. We were working in a like an oil refinery. Oh, no, a pharmaceutical plant in New Jersey. I said, why are you in New Jersey? He goes, this is where all the work is. Yeah. So the number one employer in the country is the federal government. Look it up. And most private companies, I've worked for corporations, I could tell this fact. Most private companies, their number one contracts are federal backed contracts. So, guys, just the way the world works. So get that money, fatten that pension. I love it, man. Enjoy yourself, Suitcase. Be safe out there, man. Christina, too many psychopaths not to stay on the move for me personally. Well, just remember, when you have a home base, you take some risk off the table. When you don't have a home base, you're amongst the public and you're driving more. So most people on the road, it's just like odds, right? The more you drive, the more risk. The more people you're around, the more risk. Now, I'm not saying all home bases are great, and I still don't have a home base, so I haven't figured out something better yet, but I think about that, especially as time goes on. Back to the live comments. George, what's up, man? Or Jorge, I'm not sure what you go by. No, man, what's up, man? Missed you, man. Love and respect. I'm away from the toxic pigs in my life. Well, that's a step forward. Get away from toxic relationships. The advice is legendary. You got to get away from unhealthy relationships. And usually to do that, you need a money bag. So that's time to get back in the workforce. Get your independence back. Get your dignity. George, and I don't know if you pronounce it George or Jorge. I know a couple people that name either George or Jorge. So I'm just going to say George. You let me know if it's the other way. Thank you, man. Pat, I type like a cat. Well, I got love for you. Doug, what's up, man? What up, live nomads? It's the public chat. We got 51 people. It's a Friday. I showed up. It's payday. Let's do it. Return to heaven. I tried living in my car for a few months, right as the pandemic started. Oof. Nomad life was very possible before COVID. Now, not so much. Well, definitely. Look, the pandemic was tough even for me. Showering at truck stops was a disaster. The gyms and Starbucks shut down. And after the pandemic, campgrounds cost more. Starbucks are not open as long. Planet Fitness is not 24/7. There's other ways around that. There's other gyms. I don't even eat in Starbucks anymore. I don't want to breathe that circulated air. So it's a little bit harder on the road. There's no doubt about it. But you adapt. And if you can't adapt or you get a home base, and look, I'm looking at a home base because you guys know the whole story, but I understand what you're saying, Return to Heaven. Frank 8, get that like sub, click that thumbs up. Thank you, Frank 8. Forgive me for saying name or subscribe, but you should consider doing a collaboration with Matt RV Reviews. I've seen his videos. He is based in Central Florida. I've seen that. I know he went to North Carolina to do some videos. I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against it, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not. Yeah, I've seen his videos. I thought they're pretty entertaining. I respect that. Thank you. Fox. People have to stay working, or else people think drug, criminal, mental illness. Well, some do. Some can maintain a good life without working. Whether they're financially able to live off investments, whether they're fully retired, or whether they're so disabled they can't work. That's great. But for those who are not in those categories, then yeah, I agree. Boston, daily routine is important. It's everything. That's your life. Your life is your daily routine. Good job. Start with waking up early. Don't take naps. Stay productive. Manage your time as best you can within your ability. I'm not saying I'm great at it, but I'm trying to make every day better. That's a great goal. Good job, Boston. Merritt, I know when college is free, more will sign up. And yes, free education is good for all. I don't know about that. Not everyone is meant to go to a higher learning. There's a scripture that says, what does it profit to pay a fool to go to school? There's no understanding for learning. So I wouldn't want to have went to college per se. I went to a trade school. So everyone should be given options. You want to go to higher learning? You want to go to trade school? Whatever. And some guys, school is not necessary a lot of times, even with the internet. The main thing is the ability to show up and to learn as you go. Because all school in the world cannot substitute with having to show up consistently, dealing with people. Now, obviously, the different careers you go into, you have to get the information to apply to your job. I went to night school for 5 years to learn electrical theory. I got engineering credits. So now a lot of that was a snooze fest. Some of the tests I even cheated on. But I played the game. So you do what you got to do, but what I'm trying to say is there's got to be a little bit more thought, and there will be with the internet and technology, to how we teach information, how we direct people to apply it, and then for those who don't want to do anything, then, you're never going to solve all of that. It's just you always got to have a certain percentage that never want to do anything, and that's their right. But they're going to suffer for it. Pat, I wish I had furry cat paws. Yeah, that's interesting. That'd be fun. Frankie, click that thumbs up. Thank you. Fox, you have excellent Bible knowledge. Thank you, Fox. Frankie, again, with the encouragement. Thank you. I know you were combating the negativity, and I appreciate that. Pat, go. I made wine with my feet in the bathtub again. That also sounds very interesting. Dividend Bro, what's up, man? Always appreciate your videos. I thank you for the positive comment. All the life advice and wisdom. Thank you. Especially to keep pushing forward. That's the biggest thing for all of us. And productive self-care. Number one, you're listening. It's simple, but true. You get it. Manage your time, especially if you're trading stocks. Potent when acted upon. Thank you. You have great charisma and comedy. Thank you very much. Make people smile. That's a blessing for you to say that. Thanks for the great videos. Thank you for that very detailed, positive comment. I really appreciate that, Dividend Bro. Thank you. Pat Go. I just blocked somebody. Pat Go, you are my guardian angel with cat paws. I appreciate you. Fox, best to be on zero meds. Well, for not all people. I do believe there's some people with physical or psychological problems that medication helps them. I'm not saying they should abuse it, and I'm not saying everyone should be on medication, but I am not anti-medication for every situation. Obviously, self-care as much as you can, but I know people that take medication and they need to. So I'm not, against it completely. We have to have a balanced approach as best we can. Christina, love your energy. Thank you. Boston, thank you, man. Thank you. That was great. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Thank you. And again, I respect that everything I say is not gospel. Everyone should, process it, take the good, leave the bad, but give us some thought and figure out what you want to do. Good. Thank you. Fox, excellent point. Thank you. Pat Go. If I see a troll in the live chat, I click the avatar and block. Well, thank you, Pat Go. I haven't authorized any blue wrench, what do they call it? Moderators. I don't know if I will. We'll see how that goes. But I know there's going to be some trolls that creep in. That's part of it. Look, I ran a public chat for 3 years before I did membership. So I understand the game. It's just part of life. Thank you, though, Pat Go, for looking out for me. Murdoch, no need for trolls. They'll always be here. And, it's part of what you guys will deal with in life, too. You have trolls on a job. You have trolls in the park. So you just navigate around them. It's okay. But I appreciate all those who care about me and don't want me to go through that. But it's part of it. I get it. Boston, thank you, man. That was great. Oh, I read that right. I apologize. Fox, tell that guy not to. Yeah, don't even. We're gonna stay positive tonight. Return of Heaven. Yeah, Fox. First, pharmacy comes from the word pharmaca, which means socracy, witchcraft. Well, there's a lot of words that come from a lot of things. So I still like the word porn. I like the word abortion. I like the word mental illness that needs some level of pharmaceutical drugs, because I don't like that everyone that has a psychological illness is going to be deemed a demon. I don't like that we would live in a society where you have to have unprotected sex and get married against your will because that's the only way you're allowed to satisfy your lust. I like to masturbate, watch free porn, and I'm pro-abortion. Because we got plenty of people in foster care, and some of the people I know that I want to say this. I'm not gonna go negative. We have to look at life through a comprehensive way. There's no exact science to life, but there is science, and we have to balance it. Fox, working makes one 85% more employable. There's no doubt about that. Energy creates energy. So the more productive you are, the more attractive you are. Just like no one wants to date a lazy sloth, no one wants to hire an unproductive person. But the good news is, if you've been unproductive, now's a great time to get back in the workforce, the great application, because people aren't going to question you as much as if it was a very tough time to get a job. It's a very easy time to get a job. So I think it's a win if you want to. But if you don't want to, again, I mind my business. So this is just a live feed comment or topic. Pat Go, when you block, they can't see you and you can't see them. Yeah, I thank God, YouTube got rid of the dislike. And I thank God that for the most part, the majority of people are positive. But there's always going to be some negative in the world. I've just accepted, as I've gotten older, that this is the way the world is. I don't know why. I don't like it. But I'm not going to destroy my life trying to fight it, because you just can't change certain people. Michael, most nomads are Sigma. Could you please explain what that comment means? Callie Cal, what's up, man? Thank you. I appreciate that. Christina, find remote work. That's the one good thing about the coronavirus. There is a lot of remote work. Fox, return of heaven. Wow. Thanks for the root definition of pharma. Christina, that way you don't have to actually go to work. You just have to work. Yeah, look, I worked in a ditch, in an office, in retail. Everything has a part to play. But there's certainly something to be said that there's a lot of time in building that is spent unproductive. So, the big concern about being remote is there's going to be a lot of unproductive time. But working in an office and in buildings, a lot of unproductive time there too. And the bottom line is, working remote, they're going to measure everything by data that you do certain things. So I think now that we kind of understand that, it's just accepted, as long as obviously it falls within what you're doing. There's been certain jobs you can't work, and I've done them. You can't work remote. You just work your way up or whatever you're going to do. Frankie, peace. Thank you. Return of heaven. Attitude is everything. I agree with that. Big part of it. Ryan, the address on my license is a P.O. Box. Thank you for sharing, Ryan. Christina, P.O. Box or a vacant rental home, you want people to think you're when they Google it. Thank you, Christina. Christina, just throwing in my 2 cents. Thank you. No offense. No taken. Thank you. Suitcase. Getting an address is a nomad is easy as a nomad. Thank you, Suitcase. She's also a nomad. Fox. I have a degree, but was a Dollar Tree so that I could walk to work. Yeah, nothing wrong with that because of the BLM tension on the trains. Yeah, I don't know about that. Like I say, for me, all I can tell you in life is that some of the contentious political issues we've seen are an excuse, and I don't like that as far as one side or the other. Okay. But part of America that's part of it is everyone gets to say their side. All sides have good and bad. But I have never seen any protest group, okay, whether pro-Trump, anti-Trump, whether BLM or whatever. I've seen, I don't know, I don't want to say I haven't seen negative in all. I mean, we saw negative in the Capitol riots, right? So you could have said that I'm not going to ever vote for Trump because of the Capitol riots. So I would say, Fox, I would agree with you. If you said you have a degree, I don't agree with you. I want to respectfully say this. There's no way you have a degree and you stop working a good job and you worked at the Dollar Tree because of BLM riots. There's no way. Because I don't know anyone that makes common sense, let alone higher learning sense. So either you got to explain that to me further, or I feel like that is a deceptive comment, respectfully. Okay. Brando, any ideas on how to earn under the table being on disability? That I do not know. Well, I could say I know a couple people who do it. Clean houses. You can get about anywhere between $50 to $100 an hour, or $100 a house at least. Clean houses, under the table, cash. Yep, there you go. Or they Venmo you. Yep, that's what I'll tell you. Good question, Brendo, and thank you for being a member. Suitcase, I did it. There you go. I'm not sure but yeah. Also, if you're in construction, you know how to do side work, electrical, plumber, general contractor, you could do that. You can clean houses. You could walk dogs. You could do lawn care. Basic under the table things, yeah. All good points. Sleepy dreams. Hey, Dad. Hey, let's stay positive tonight. I'm gonna just lovingly remove until we have to totally delete. No one is hurt, just unemployed a few days ahead of bills. Plan B, getting in place. Let me read this again. No one is hurt, just unemployed a few days ahead of bills. Plan B is getting in place. I'm not sure I understand. Also continues, I have no MECA background, clean criminal, Class A tractor trailer license. So you have a lot of certifications, then you can do a lot of things. Good. Awesome. Padgo blocked another one. I thank you, Padgo. Fox, didn't get to them or they were deleted. Thank you. Christina's laughing. Good. Thank you. Christina, right. Sleep. A Sleepy Dream says, I fell into a desperate situation and had to move to South Minneapolis. Got a homeless encampment behind me, my house, and drug dealers running around everywhere, shootings every week. Well, that was your own decision, so I'm sure you're accountable. You got in a desperate situation. Why? You didn't explain that. You could have moved anywhere. You chose to move to Minnesota. Why? You chose to have a home base behind an area you didn't research. And then it's all I heard was blame and no accountability. So respectfully, the story doesn't make sense, and I love you, but I don't understand it. Eudora, shout out to you and all my Latina MILFs staying focused despite COVID hitting us all. I know someone just recently got COVID. They were sick for 3 days. They recovered. They were vaccinated. Didn't have to go to the hospital. Laughing. No fun. And I started to the year fired up. Thank you, Samito, for the good vibes always. Eudora, love to you, respect to you, and appreciation to you. Stay positive. If you get sick, drink hydration. If you get a fever, monitor it. If you have shortness of breath, go to the hospital. Statistics show us 90% of people vaccinated are not in the hospital. If you don't want to get vaccinated, I still give you a hug. I give people that are hugs that are not vaccinated. I just want to tell everyone out there, let's go forward. I love you. Thank you, Eudora. Thank you. God bless you. Stay pretty. Next comment. Christina, I agree. Matthew, hey Nomad, I just moved from Maryland to Florida, renting a room at the moment, but may transition to a vehicle in the near future. Well, best of luck to you, Matthew. Thank you for sharing your journey. Uh, Deacon DeSantos seems legit. Well, I have two thoughts with DeSantos. One is I will acknowledge that he did a good job running Florida during the pandemic. I acknowledge that because I'm fair. But I look at him as like he's good as a manager of a state, but not a manager of a big corporation, not a manager of an entire country. Why? Because he doesn't have the temperament. He co-signed Trump. He has the same temperament. We don't need another trade war. We don't need some tough talking. He runs a state great. I think he would run a country too contentious. Now, we don't need Biden. Hopefully, we have some mix. I would vote for DeSantos for governor, but not for president. I don't like any of our choices so far for president. We'll see. But I'm trying to be fair that way, where I respect how he ran it, but I didn't like that he co-signed Trump. He never really rebuked Trump. And after the riots on January 6th that were a total disgrace to the country, if someone still stand next to that mindset, again, I still love them because I still know people that love Trump, so I don't want to act like I hate people. But I just want to say that that's how I personally feel. Everyone do whatever they want. Thank you. Tom, good to see you live. Good to see you. Shout out to you and your wife. I know you're also from Florida. I believe you like DeSantos also. And Trump. I love you. Christina, I agree. Robert, good evening, Sam. Love to you, Robert. Fox, Mr. Sam, you are providing a great service of the human need. Well, thank you, man, for the connection. I'll thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, one thing I want you guys to hear, people need someone to talk to. That's true. But you also need to have boundaries, and you need to make sure that you put yourself in a good place. Because two insane people talking to each other are a shit show, unhealthy, unproductive. So do things in order. Take care of yourself. Then through your abundance, share as you want. He goes, you will hit up again. Thank you. I'll be working shortly, even though NYC is 100% vax mandate, even the Scottish decision. Well, yeah, no, to a big extent it is. And remember, Donald Trump's from New York City. So all I can tell you is this. With your certifications, a degree, a tractor trailer license, you can work in other places other than New York. So if you didn't like some of those protocols, the great part about America is there's 50 states. And you can move to another one. I'm not saying that's easy. But obviously, I did it. Oh, you can do it. So, but I acknowledge, there's good and bad in every state. And there's some states that are a complete disaster. But it's not Republican or Democrat because there's good and bad. Like everyone says, like, oh, blue states, red states. But guys, most people that are doing well in red states come from blue states. Now, but there's some people in red states that are great people, are very talented. So there's not one thing. And there's some things that red states do well and blue states do bad. There's a dynamic that there's this whole conversation that has to take place. And that's why, guys, I only have so much to give because I do an hour live feed. A president, and we don't have any good, but that's a person who's going to lead has to figure out how to talk about all that, okay? Without a way of us all hating each other, okay? We're all never going to love each other. We know that's life. But we don't need someone being the most divisive president in history. That's what Republican military generals said about Trump. We don't need that temperament. Now, I know we don't need Biden who's asleep and letting inflation blow up like a balloon. I get it. So, guys, what's our answer? While the workforce is good, while there's somewhat peace, do what you need to do. If you're in a state that you don't like, now's a great time maybe to figure out where can you go to capitalize off your talents. So that's the best. I'm trying to be fair and under control. The best advice I can give in a general way. Fox. I will, excuse me. Fox. I will explain another time. Okay, I understand. Fox. I will explain you'll explain after January 19th. Okay, that sounds a little dramatic, Uh, let's stay positive. Thank you again, Yadara. Thank you. Pay Nolan, what's up, man? What's up, man? Apply yourself and maintain. Excellent advice, Pay Nolan. You keep pushing forward, brother. Fox signing off tonight. Thank you, Fox. Great comments tonight. Fox, just be careful. I don't like these big dates you're throwing out there. It makes me scared of something, wild. Take care of yourself. Self-control. Remember, blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are those who don't live in fear. Blessed are those who don't add to strife and conflict. Stay in that spirit as best you can in this crazy world. Don't add to the flames of fury. Fox, thank you again. Murdoch, stepson triple vaxxed, got COVID twice. Everyone will get COVID, but he didn't go into a hospital. 90% of people did your son go to a hospital? 90%, the whole reason we shut down the country was we didn't want the hospitals to be overrun. Because if the hospitals get too full, the IC beds get too full, then you have chaos in society. When the country was shut down, almost 500,000 people died. If people were driving cars, getting in motorcycle accidents, having all these different things, guys, the nurses would have quit like you wouldn't have seen. It would have been a disaster. So vaccination doesn't mean you're not going to get the disease. It means that you have a 90% chance of not being in the hospital. Now, do I love the vaccines? No, I really don't want to get it, but this is what we're faced with. Did I get triple vaxxed? No, I got double vaxxed. And if society remains stable, I don't plan on getting any more boosters. But I acknowledge that there's a real threat out there. Vaccines statistically so far have shown that they have helped, maintain hospitalization rates at an acceptable, maintainable level. And just like the flu, just like everything else, we're going to learn to live with it. But unlike the flu in 1920 or so in America, we don't have 3 million dead and mass destitute. So that's kind of like the way I look at it. No perfect answer, but that's the way I look at it. Thank you, Murdoch, for sharing. And I hope that your son is doing well. Hope that you're doing well. And I thank you for sharing that. He said, less than 3 weeks up here in Canada and has it now on vacation in Mexico. And he's probably still partying with some beautiful women. Yeah. Quarantined. Joe Manchin will make run for president. Have you ever been through West Virginia? West Virginia is one of the worst run, poverty-striven, crime, drug addict states in America. Way worse than San Francisco. So Joe Manchin represents West Virginia. And if I don't know anyone who has been successful, I don't know a high number of people that have come through Virginia. I know great people, good people, but not highly successful. And most of them, guys, the shithole. I hate to say that. So, and I don't want to say that because I don't want to be disrespectful to all people in West Virginia. It's not right. But Joe Manchin, just like many other senators who come from states that have so huge of problems, West Virginia has more problems than California. And if you don't believe me, if you've never spent time in West Virginia. So California has more job opportunities than West Virginia. New York City has more job opportunities than West Virginia. Better school systems, less drugs. West Virginia is so small that maybe they don't have as many numbers, but the population that suffers through poverty and drug addiction and destitution is so high. Joe Manchin is a disgrace. Look, I don't know Joe Manchin that intimacy. I don't even know West Virginia that intimacy. But everything I do know, that's my feeling of it. So, again, teach their own. I think they're all frauds, but that's my feeling of it. Murdoch, I used to pay as you go credit cards, but they wouldn't work to give you some money. My apologies. Okay, I'm not sure. Don't worry about that, guys. Look, I appreciate everyone. It's all love, man. It's all love. Thank you, Murdoch. Ryan, thank you, Sam, for your time. Thank you for your positive comment. Education and inspiration. I'm doing the best I can. I'm not perfect. Everyone do what they want. Thank you. Very appreciated you, Rock. Thank you for the positive comment. Peace and love, reciprocal respect and love back to you. Thank you, Ryan. Murdoch, not in a hospital. Well, there you go. Again, that's just basic information. Thank you, Murdoch. Love to you and your son. God bless. Hey, Christina. Good to see you. Shout out to you. Christina's from Indiana. Christina, have you ever been to West Virginia? You let us know. Music, love, revenue. I caught a live. Could you listen to Sam's for hours? Thank you, music. I love revenue for everything. He's a voice in my head. Well, let your voice be louder than mine. Obviously, if there's thoughts of delusion or hurting, look, there's so many voices in your head throughout life. I don't want to control people, so I don't want to be the only voice. But I do want to be a whisper that whispers self-care, time management. When in doubt, walk away from confrontation if you can. Why? Because I think no matter what your political philosophy of life or life philosophy, that's helpful to you. Ryan, 4.99 super chat. Ryan, strong on that. Ryan, thank you for that gracious show of support. Don't take it for granted. I'm thankful for it. Love and respect to you, Ryan. Appreciation. Thank you very much. And to everyone out there, thank you, man. Thank you, Ryan. Love to you, man. Thank you. Doug, single vax, the baby shampoo one, and done vax. I understand. Christina's laughing. Well, she must have been in West Virginia. Again, love and respect to everyone who's been. No disrespect. All right, guys and girls, I got to pee. I've been on here for 2 hours. Public chat, second in a row. I showed up. Ryan, to a positive year, Sam. I agree with that. You're always here, brother. I'm doing the best I can. I thank you, Ryan. I thank you. I hope my words help you in some way. Again, I apologize for those who I may hurt with my words. I don't intentionally do that. I know I have my own opinions. Everyone's got to do what works for them. Thank you, Maddie. And let's do the best you can. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Murdoch. Peace and love to you and your son as well. May he be healed soon.